All right, let's get into it, everyone. It's the Donovan Live postgame show on a Wednesday night. The NFL Draft is coming to Cleveland in 2021. The voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, joins me, and it's an exciting time, Jimmy. It's another feather in the Cleveland sports cap. They're coming here over the next 4 or 5 years. But the draft is, because we've followed the draft more than anything else in terms of the Browns in this town.
It's been our Super Bowl.
It's been our Super Bowl. We know what it's like just to prepare for the draft and watch the draft. But it's a whole other thing when you're hosting the draft. And I thought you laid it out beautifully on the show tonight. The economic impacts, certainly we've seen in Nashville already, have been staggering. And this is a big deal for Cleveland.
Yeah, it really is. And it was hatched at a very, very down period, especially for the Browns. I will never forget this now that I reflect back on the news today and reflect back on when the heck did this happen? And it happened. I'll tell you the story. It happened a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I want to say almost 3 years ago. And it was after a morning practice at a training camp. And the Haslams were entertaining Roger Goodell, who annually typically will stop by, especially just before the Hall of Fame weekend, because he's in the vicinity, in the neighborhood, and he'll stop by training camp and visit for one day. And the Haslams had season ticket holders, suite holders, for a lunch and kind of a town hall type setting where the commissioner spoke and the Haslams were there. And I have to tell you, it was a very testy gathering because the season ticket holders were not happy with the product on the field, with how that was going. And second of all, they were not happy with the fact that, hey, why do we have to buy preseason games at regular season prices? So that was the mood. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they started talking about, getting bids ready. They wanted to be an active bidder and put together a formal bid to get the draft. And I thought it was just kind of to get the mood on a sunnier topic than what was there presently at the time, which wasn't good. And that's how it started. And I have to tell you, it was Dee Haslam that really started the conversation about it. And the Browns did a great job. There was a lot of hard work put into it. Cleveland joined forces with them. At one time, the Pro Football Hall of Fame in the city of Canton was with them. That did not work out, and Kevin Kleps brought up a good point on Donovan Live tonight at 7, that wasn't going to work out because they wanted 1 day of the 3 days devoted to Canton, and the NFL basically was saying, hey, listen, once we put down roots in our operations, it would be unbelievably difficult to uproot, take it down to Canton.
Try to have 2 different stations or whatever. Yeah, it's difficult.
But it really it paid off. Now, I don't know if we were still drowning in losing, would we have gotten this no matter how good our pitch would be? I don't know. But it's great news for them. They're on a roll. And you and I talked about this a number of times last year during the season. The Haslams had a good year last year.
Yes, they did.
Okay, even though they had to fire a coach. But it turns out that was a very good move and maybe should have been made before it actually happened, but it happened. The team turned around. They found their quarterback. They have a waiting list for season tickets now. They have an amazing schedule with national television appearances all over the place. Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it. With maybe more in the offing if they're having the year that a lot of people anticipate. And now the crowning jewel to get this. It's amazing.
I mean, the initial idea was they wanted to try to have it in 2020, with the Cleveland Canton idea, because of course Canton is where pro football began in 1920. It's we're now kind of in that centennial year in the NFL. Didn't quite work out that well, but I mean, this now gives Cleveland ample time, and I mean, look, David Gilbert and the people over at the Sports Commission, I mean, you've got the All-Star game that they're helping to coordinate for this summer, the baseball All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game, the women's Final Four, the NCAA tournament that's coming back here next year. So, I mean, every major sport is getting something big from their professional league here. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and when we have hosted, we've done very well. I mean, we really have. The World Series, don't discount that World Series in 2016 and how good that looked And I know we're disappointed with the result, okay? But baseball aside, runs, hits, and errors aside, the aesthetics of it were beautiful.
Yes.
I mean, it was fall. It was two historic franchises. Even though there were tons of Cubs fans there, it played so well on television that you had this 50-50 ratio. And it sounded almost like a neutral site, but it wasn't, obviously. But I mean, it looked good, and it played well, and everybody behaved well.
Yes.
The RNC went very, very well at a very, very tense time in the country, okay? The Cavs in the finals, that parade went well. It's really gone well. The All-Star games, I have no hesitation to say that they will go flawlessly.
Yeah.
They'll go flawlessly. We do this stuff well.
Yeah.
And we should take a bow on that.
Absolutely.
We should take a bow on it. And there's a lot of civic pride that goes along with it. We don't want to look bad.
Right.
We don't want to have someone say, oh my God, that was a disaster in Cleveland.
Never again. Right.
It's like when Lake Placid hosted the Olympics and they couldn't get buses to run.
That's
I mean, there was a problem there,
That's right.
But we do it well. I mean, we really do. And that's another reason why. But man, I'll tell you what, things are really rolling here.
Things are really rolling. Now, tomorrow, 3 o'clock, you'll be emceeing the official announcement at Public Square. Just basically, what's your sense, so to speak, on how much work, how much planning is already kind of done, or how much is going to be changed? How many things, like, basically, do we know ideas of where they may have a main stage? I was trying to think about whether it'll be at Mall C or whether by the convention center. Will it be at Burke Lakefront Airport? I heard somebody say that. Will it be at Public Square? Or is a lot, basically now it's almost like trial and error. They have to kind of, put this thing and put it to the numbers.
Well, there are a couple of things that have to enter into it, and right at the top of the list is weather.
Yes.
Okay, it's in April. But Kevin Kleps brought up, we had a great time with Kevin.
Yeah. By the way, there's a link to it on this Donovan Live Facebook thing.
I'm almost like saying, hey, you should have seen the movie. It's great.
That's right.
Don't go see the movie, but you should have seen it.
Anyway,
let me just say this. He brought up a really good point. The opening night in Nashville, which was packed.
Yes.
Okay. But it was pouring rain early on, and people just...
They were worried about major storm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a festival. It's a 3-day football festival. And so, but weather would have to be right up at the top of the list. Now I heard a stream of thought today from some pretty connected people that the lakefront definitely needs to be incorporated, and they want to do that. I mean, it's Lake Erie, I mean, the Rock Hall is down there, the Science Center is down there, First Energy is down there, and the Mather is down there.
Yes, the William G. Mather.
The Mather on the opening, it wasn't the actual opening night of the convention, but do you remember there was a Sunday night big party?
Yes, absolutely.
That kind of kicked off the festivities. I mean, they gavelled the thing in the next afternoon. But, and remember, there was a big party and it was on the Mather.
Yeah.
Okay.
It went
and
well.
So, that's down there. There are a lot of things they can do. So maybe tomorrow we will get some of the specifics. But maybe, I'm sure it will change a great deal. I mean, they have time on their hands here.
Right. I mean,
I would say this. I don't think it's going to be anything like what it's going to be like next year in Las Vegas. I mean, we're good, but I don't think we can change ourselves that much. But anyway, but it will be a slice of Americana, don't you think, when it comes back here? I mean, it will be the Midwest and where football really grew up.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
And that was the theme. I mean, I thought Jimmy Haslam hit the nail on the head today in Florida when they were talking about this, and the announcement came that, look, I mean, it means more because football in the NFL means more here than it does in many other places, because the professional football was invented 60 miles away.
Yeah. Well, it does. You're right. And because it's perfect timing. It's perfect timing because the team has turned. Yeah. Who knows what they're going to be like come 2021?
Right.
I'm guessing they will not be drafting first.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I am thinking, though, that Trevor Lawrence will be the number one pick, the quarterback out of class.
I love
you heard that first.
You heard that first.
Kevin Kleps did not give us that.
No.
Yeah.
Ben Axelrod does have projected guys who could be taken
Oh, really?
in 2021. He put together a list
Okay.
at WKYC.com. I was so impressed.
I was going to ask the woman, the mentalist that was on
Yes,
Donovan
I
Live
know.
tonight, if she had a pick.
Yes, if you didn't see, by the way, that's also now at WKYC.com.
What a show.
It was a full show tonight. But yeah, we had a magician and a mentalist, and I mean, your eyes when she figured out like the name of your wife and swimming with sharks, I was impressed.
Yeah. Well, I was nervous that because she had said to me, now you have to put clearer space in your mind. Now, my mind is a complicated place.
Yes, it's always moving. Your mind's always. It's
And
always
I've had a
moving.
very busy day.
Yeah.
And I did radio, and then this story broke. And anyway, so I mean, there's a lot going on. So I was worried that I did not clear the appropriate space in my head, and that I was going to follow her up on live TV.
Yes.
But man, she nailed it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Swimming with the sharks.
Swimming
Cheryl
with
swimming
sharks.
with the sharks.
It's pretty. That's pretty awesome. It's. This all comes. It's just. I want to go back to a point you made during the sixth, though. Back to the draft for a second. This has been a labor that's gone pretty unnoticed by the Haslams for the last 3 years, and by the city of Cleveland and the Sports Commission. Because let's be honest, a lot of fans and a lot of us in the media, we've given them, I think, the appropriate criticism when things have not gone well with this franchise, and for the most part, until recently, they had not gone well. But decision after decision, right move after right move, and as you put it, hard work was rewarded, was paid off tonight.
Yeah, it really was. Think about this now. They have never had that opportunity to be up at the podium with the NFL shield in front of them, and the commissioner off to their right to talk about something like this.
Yeah.
Robert Kraft has.
Yes.
Okay. Jerry Jones has.
Yes.
The Maras have.
Yeah.
The Rooneys have. Not the Haslams.
Not the Haslams.
Okay, the Haslams have not had that opportunity. This was a big day for them. Tomorrow is going to be a nice day for the Browns and for the city of Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay, that they have really come together and they've worked and they've done a great job to secure something that is going to bring, truly now, it will bring millions of dollars into the economy. And I said this earlier on the 6th, and that is, sometimes the Republican National Convention did not live up economically.
Yeah, correct.
Right? I mean, I don't think I'm out of my lane here on this. But
I
I think a lot of restaurant owners would tell you in town, hey, listen, I'm waiting for all that RNC money to float in, and it didn't. This will.
Yeah.
This will.
Because you're going to get people, you're going to get fans. And you're going to get fans to come in, and fans love to eat, and they love to drink, they love to buy souvenirs.
Yeah.
They love to spend money.
Well, it's at a time, too, that, now remember, the Super Bowl will be, the first week in February. And this is really the first event for the NFL fan to be a part of.
Yes.
I mean, the NFL fan cannot be a part of the Combine or the Pro Days or anything like that, or OTAs. Right. So this is the first fan experience in the new calendar year every year, and football fans cannot get enough of it. I mean, what is the excitement of with the first pick? Come on. But people love it. Look at the ratings it achieved on like 4 networks.
Right. They made a movie about the draft.
Right.
I wasn't in it.
I was cut.
Your scene was cut. I wasn't in it. I watched the scene.
I see my scene is on the carpet right over here. It's right over here.
If
3 hours of my life that I will never get back.
If Ivan Reitman would like to make a sequel, in 2021, please feel free to come on back and we'll try it again. But this is all happening, as you say, as the Browns. Just so much positivity, and I know OTAs. Mandatory minicamp is we still have to get to that here. Then obviously
2 weeks away,
and obviously then training camp in starting in late July. But when I hear from Joel Bitonio and Denzel Ward, and the other day I heard Myles Garrett talking, and these are the core players, along with obviously Mayfield and Beckham and Landry.
Yeah, right.
But these are the core. A lot of these are the core players, and you can tell they're excited about this too. They're excited about 2019 and this team. They're excited to see the Cleveland Browns and this area get national recognition.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I
Right.
could definitely tell that with Batonio, hearing him today. Yeah.
Well, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great guy. That offensive line, they're a really cool bunch of guys.
Yes.
And they're without Joe Thomas, okay,
Yeah.
who was the guiding light for
the
them.
king of cool.
Yeah, he was the king of cool. But they are a really good offensive line, okay? And like everybody else now on this team, they'll get the exposure that they want. But there was a really cool moment today, and it was kind of coordinator day out there. The coordinators met with the media. And Todd Monken is an interesting guy.
Yes, he
okay?
is.
Because he took the job as the offensive coordinator with the Browns, knowing full well that the head coach of the Browns, Freddie Kitchens, is going to call his own plays. And you have to, it begs the question, why would you do that? Why would you come? Why wouldn't you go to another team? Because he's very highly respected. Why wouldn't you go to another team where there's a clear path and you're going to call your plays, your offense? And he said, well, I think a lot of Freddie. But I watched this kid, Baker Mayfield, and I want to be a part of that.
Wow.
And that's, to me,
Tells you all you need to know.
I had goosebumps listening to
Wow.
it because he is seeing something, and he saw it, he saw it naturally in the lead up to the draft. I mean, here he is. He's dealing with Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I really did. I said to myself, if a guy like this is saying, hey, listen, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of that kid's growth because I know he's got everything that it takes. And I'm going to help. If I can help him a little, it will be a big part. And other people are telling me, if this goes well this year, Todd Monken will be a head coach next year.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm sure that was a selling point. To him, it's like, hey, listen, you may not be the guy calling the plays, but you're going to have a huge part in getting this kid ready to go every single Sunday, or in the Browns' case, on some Mondays here too. This works like we think it can work. Then you're going to get the recognition that you will have deserved.
Now today, and this tells you the situation that the Browns roster is in right now. Okay, they're in the running for Gerald McCoy.
Yeah.
How
seriously do you think?
I think right there.
Yeah.
Colts, Browns, possibility Saints. Okay. The Browns offer him a very unique opportunity. I think the money would almost be the same across the board. Maybe the Colts and Browns could outbid
the Saints
on that. Gerald McCoy could come here though, and some people are saying, well, he might not start here, and they may be right. But he's also 31, 32 years old, and he could be part of something really cool. And now I'm focusing in on that defensive line. And he could be, now they're all going to be rotational players there. And I think that this could be a very interesting situation for him.
I heard Mike Tannenbaum, the former Jets and Dolphins general manager, he was on Bull and Fox today on 92.3, say, hey, look, for a 1-year show-me contract, to come in and maybe in Cleveland, you're only asked to play 25 or 30 snaps a game.
Absolutely.
But you come in and you become that middle rusher, and you've talked about that.
It's
with
the
me.
new pressure in the
That's the new
NFL.
pressure in the NFL.
It's the middle pressure.
The middle of the field. If he's able to if he could come in even as a part-time starter and do that, number one, it's going to help the Browns, but it'll help him too because obviously he'll elevate the Browns on defense.
His sacks, if you take a look at his sacks in the last few years, I mean, his sacks are up, okay? And, I mean, they're all interior sacks. It's interior pressure. You must now get interior pressure. To think that you're going to be able to come around those edges, it really is obsolete because everybody's taking 3-step drops, and they're all timing offenses, and they're quick slants, and they're throws, and they're run after the catch. And as great as Myles Garrett is, and he is great, okay? Even the great Myles Garrett doesn't always get there. But if you can get the push up the front, a la Aaron Donald, okay, and those kind of, and Ndamukong Suh, when they were playing together, that's the new pressure. That's the new pressure.
Plus, everybody's chipping. Everybody's chipping. Everybody's giving you a little shot. Every tight end or every fullback or whatever, giving you a shot.
You have to disrupt the Bradys, the Drew Breeses. Roethlisberger's a different guy. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's old guard. But I think it would be a very interesting situation. But I want to go back to the roster, and this will also curl your hair, and that is that the big discussion today was that the Browns are, looking at who will be their return man in kicks. Dontrell Hilliard, Callaway. I mean, at this time, we're sleepless wondering who's our quarterback. We're worried about a return guy. Sign me up for that.
That's the only thing that we're worried about now. Who's going to return kicks? I mean, yeah, you're right. You don't have to worry about who's going to play cornerback. Who's going to be covering people. You don't have to worry about who's going to be your wide receivers. Who's going to be your big threat to keep defensive coordinators up all night. You don't have to worry about that. You've got running backs and you've got wide receivers and a tight end, and you've got all this talent.
Yeah, you really do. I'm going to throw a name at you, because he has been a star so far in the offseason, and he was a guy that they got last year, and, he was Jermaine Whitehead.
Yes.
He is having a phenomenal offseason with the Browns to the point where he is, really their nickelback right now. They're starting nickelback. I mean, he's doing an exceptional job, he's going to push people.
Right.
Considered, they had him in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. He got a bad penalty in Green Bay, and they cut him the next day, and the Browns scooped him up. Elliott Wolf, Highsmith
knew him. Yep.
Dorsey knew him a little bit too, and he's really playing well for them. So they're, Callaway's playing well, but this Jermaine Whitehead has been the talk of camp.
You know what? And that's how you know. I mean, when you're the guys that you normally you'd say, well, who's on the bubble to make the team, and they're already starting to move themselves up in May before we even put the pads on.
Right.
I mean, that tells you something. Everybody sees something special happening around here.
It does, yeah.
Jimmy, enjoy tomorrow. Again, 3 o'clock at Public Square, the official announcement. The 2021 NFL Draft is coming.
If you can go down, you should go down. It's a tailgate party afterwards, so they're going to have a lot of fun down there, a lot of music, and a lot of goodwill.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really.
Well, you know what? Give the city of Cleveland a round of applause, but you know what? Give the owners of the Browns a round of applause too. They deserve it. Jimmy, as always, good to be back with you. Good to see everybody. Again, thanks for joining us tonight. The Donovan Live postgame show right here on WKYC's Facebook Live.